Everyone, just a quick reminder before the show that Saturday, June 6th, will be my last show with Huntington Beach Boys. It's our final show of the IFL season over at Improv Collective in Costa Mesa. So check that out. Check out the team matches there. And that'll be Saturday, June 6th. 9 p.m. is when doors open. 9:30 p.m. is when the show starts. So if you're in the area, check it out. Go to improvcollective.fun and see what other events are going on. Alright, thanks for letting me say all that and enjoy the show. You're listening to Delayed Replay, the podcast where we recap and review movies that got delayed in that other universe for various reasons, but came out on time in our universe, and therefore come out pretty different for some reason. You might think this is improvised, and well, that's on you. I'm Steven Shinder, and welcome to the show. Airing sometimes every other week, sometimes one week and then the next week. It really depends. Just roll with it. Season 7. Hello, listeners. Welcome to another episode of Delayed Replay, that podcast where we recap and review movies that came out on time in our universe but got delayed in that other universe. Joining me to talk about Disclosure Day on Delayed Replay, past guest of the show, it is Starrapter. What's up, dude?
Hey Steven, it's blockbuster season. I cannot wait. It's a great time for a movie fan on the cusp of all this amazing stuff about to hit our eyeballs. So I'm doing great. What about you?
Yeah, all sorts of fun stuff to talk about. And I think this is one that kind of, for a while, wasn't on people's radar while it was in development. And it's a Steven Spielberg movie. So what's been your history with Steven Spielberg and his movies?
Oh yeah, well the easy go-to for me would be obviously Jurassic Park.
Of course.
Uh I mean that's how me and you have come to become good friends through our buddies over at the Jurassic Park Boys or little chat we have set up with a couple other podcasters over there. So we enjoy that immensely. But maybe around the same time, maybe earlier or not, E.T. Extraterrestrial. And man, that movie still holds up. I've seen that recently. I went on a ride in Universal a couple of years ago on that one. Absolutely adore that movie. Steven Spielberg, I mean, what can you not say? He is probably the most prolific filmmakers of our generation. And I think this is actually the first time on this podcast that we're actually talking about a movie that he has made. So I'm excited to jump into like this guy's work here.
Yeah, that actually didn't really hit me, but yeah, in the existence of this podcast, he's had a couple other movies, but not ones that have been talked about here. And this is his first alien themed movie in quite a while. Like you mentioned E.T., and he's also done at least a couple other things. I know he did War of the Worlds and Crystal Skull, and I think at some point in that history, he mentioned that he didn't want to do another Alien movie for a while, and now it's been yet another long time.
Oh
So,
yeah.
yeah, kind of a Return of the King type of moment, with that meme and whatnot.
Yeah, we also had him doing I've never seen this movie, but it's a big one, Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Oh yeah, that's a classic, and it also Spielberg's movies, they can have this feel of like awe and childlike
Yes.
wonder, but Close Encounters even still has a pretty terrifying moment, which is,
Oh,
when the kid gets abducted, like goes up into the,
oh
I
my
think it was like
gosh.
a chimney or something. But you gotta remember, this is a guy who also did Jaws, so he's kind of gone through an evolution over the years, I guess.
Yeah, how could I forget about That's the thing with him is like you're you're talking about all these various movies. You're like, oh, I forgot to mention that one. I forgot he was a part of that one. Like he is just so, and his genre is all over the place. He's just not known for one kind of movie, like you said. He has been a while since he's done an alien movie, but he does these biopics and he does all sorts of different things. It's been Indiana Jones, all these things, crazy.
Yeah. So in this one, we kind of begin, so the characters that we have here, Emily Blunt is this meteorologist in Kansas City and also has done some journalism work. Her name is Margaret Fairchild, and we get to see her in this weather broadcast when she's talking about the weather and the strong winds and whatnot. But as she's talking about the weather, all of a sudden she makes these really eerie, out of this world noises that come out of her mouth. How did you feel during this particular
hmm
scene?
If I felt very similar to how I felt in the great series, I will call it, Alien Earth. And in Alien Earth, I won't say who, but there is a human character that can speak like a xenomorph, and it pretty much sounded very similar to this. So I'm going like, oh, this is some deja vu. We just had a similar kind of phonetically spoken alien language in another corner of sci-fi media. And it still is disturbing. And I think, the trailer really sold it well, like the reactions of the different people, but like seeing the broadcast and whatever. But yeah, I mean, obviously seeing this right at the beginning of the movie sets the tone, right? Where it's like, huh, like what's happening here? Like why, how can this human looking person be manipulating their vocal cords to sound like that, you know?
Yeah, and during this news broadcast, we see Josh O'Connor's character, Daniel Kellner. He's a cybersecurity expert, and apparently, he reveals this to his girlfriend, Jane Blankenship, that, apparently Jane and everyone else on the Earth, as far as we know, heard the weird noises and couldn't understand them, but Daniel could understand what was being said.
That was incredibly chilling. You talk about different kinds of horror and with the different thriller movies and horror movies, like how can you make a genuine reaction out of the audience and not just saying, oh, like a jump scare or like body horror, right? Like those are easy go-tos that they take skill to do, but like psychologically, it's like, oh, this is creepy. This is immediately creepy going, yeah, we're seeing how a human has that sudden dawning realization of like, why can I hear this? And what is the origin of this? Why? How? I feel so alone in a way where it's like, what is happening? So I liked that whole just the character acting in this moment of just the bewilderment, the confusion, a little bit of contempt because it's like, why do I have to be the problem? Why do I have to be the person in this situation? Um, like, what's the government? Like, I automatically start thinking like this guy's the data security guy's like, oh, the CIA is gonna want to pick my brain. I'm gonna be stuck in a cell, being interrogated for days on end. Is there something wrong with me? Right? I have contempt on my own body. What is happening? So, yeah, again, like this movie really a lot of Steven Spielberg movies is that it's like gets you right into the thrill of it and gets you right from the first 5 minutes where you're going, I'm immediately intrigued. I don't need any build up. I'm in this story. What happens next, you know?
Yeah, and we even get Emily Blunt's character, Margaret, is also going through some existential crisis here because she's like, how was I able to make those noises? Do I have control of myself at all? And she's, driving around and through these fields, and you hear the song Sweater Weather by The Neighborhood, weirdly enough. Kind of a mainstream song. I feel like they put it in there just because she reports the weather. But yeah, she's like driving through this field, and when she is finished driving out of it, it sort of zooms out, and you realize, oh, this is sort of a modern attempt at a crop circle, and she didn't even realize
Oh,
it.
yeah, right. It's like we always like, oh yeah, like the crop circle. At least I think it's like, oh, some kind of spacecraft lands and just the different landing paths and stuff create that image. It's like, oh my gosh, what have we been thinking this entire time? We thought it was UFOs, but it's somebody just driving around with a vehicle. That is a paradigm shift if I've ever heard of one or seen one. And yeah, so for that, it immediately goes, okay, who's who? What are we doing here? Right? Um, like what is actually happening? Uh, and what you have this weather that is being the cause of a lot of this interference. Like you even have like parts of the cloud, like this, not the actual clouds, but like the internet infrastructure is
Right.
like having interference because this wind is really causing havoc with everything here and in this area of the country. And I mean that does not make matters any easier because you're trying to figure out what's happening and you don't even have any internet access or anything going on. So you sort of feel that the characters feel this sense of isolation and out of frustration. That's why she's kind of driving the car the way she is, or at least she thinks she is doing it for that reason. So there's like multiple layers already with this story where it's like, okay, like Steven Spielberg, he is playing 2D 3D chess with this one. We're thinking it's one thing, or is it the other reason? But yeah, I mean, going from here, they're just trying. These two characters are trying to make head of what is happening. Are there others out there like us, right? Are there others out there? Can other people hear this? Can other people speak it? You know? Um, and I think this is a pretty centralized story, meaning that there's only a few characters, even though it is like a very, obviously a world impacting thing because this character, and I forget his name, the guy character that is the tech guy with the drive.
Oh, Daniel.
Yeah. So he has this valuable information, almost as valuable as, like Cassian and Andor having the plans, to the Death Star. Those guys getting the plans of the Death Star and all that. It's like, oh, we have some power in my hands. If on this disc we have access to the last 70 something years extraterrestrial life and different things like that. So, but basically he's got evidence of aliens living on Earth.
Yeah.
He's not because he's trying to understand like why can I understand them and that causes him to like delve into places he should not be looking, even though it's ironic that he is the one that is actually safeguarding this stuff. He's a security guy with the information security. So he is out there trying to, which is another bad thing, right? It's like he is trying to do his job, but also realizing like, oh, I found some dirt on stuff that might be worth telling other people about. So he has this moral dilemma, which is very personal personal dealings with of deal going through and figuring out what we're doing here.
Yeah,
Um,
because he's been, trying to do research on like what
yes.
the heck is happening, and he goes through all these different forums, and there are like some conspiracy nuts. Some of them feel kind of out there, like outlandish, but others are like, oh, this person might be onto something, and he's trying to he digs up these files about, going way back to Roswell and
Yep.
about the different UFO sightings. And so he has all that info and he thinks that he's doing it all stealthily, but he catches the attention of the government officials and whatnot. And all these agents and whatever. And he's like, well, the people have to know what's going on, but he also knows that once they do find out, there could be kind of a panic. It could be earth-shattering, especially to people who are very religious and who view humanity as like the only life that there is. Um, so he's got like a lot weighing on him as a result of all this, and he's like, oh man, what do I do here? And it's trying to talk it out with Jane, and they talk about how like people are already panicking because of the troubles of the cloud. So like, what does that say about people if they can't remain calm during that? Are they going to remain calm if the knowledge of aliens is 100% confirmed, you know?
Yeah, exactly. You let out it's like once you let that information out, it's like you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, right? It's out, it's gone. It's you open Pandora's box. That's it. That's what the government is so dead set on keeping this stuff under wraps because they're afraid of what that could all mean. Um, so basically what happens is we have his character get a tip on something out there that happened back in the 80s, back in Northern California. So, so he and Jane decide to take a little trip out west, and that's where leaves them to the Redwood Forest. And yeah, they're out there just they got a tip from this information about there might have been a spacecraft at some point in the 80s there that came and went real fast and it was around a small little town and people are very hesitant. They went and they investigated, they talked to some people in the neighborhood surrounding this town, and it seemed like nobody wanted to talk about it. Like these people were just like, this happened 40, 50 years ago. Why are you trying to drum up the past kind of thing? Like we know they looked like they seen a ghost like when they went to a couple houses and tried to just, you know, try to it's hard because they're obviously not law enforcement, and it's kind of strange for these two random people just showing up at people's doorsteps going like, "Hey, can you tell us anything about this?" And they even said to themselves like, "Oh man, we need to find a better way of asking people about this information." But first-hand information is important. We need to get this anyway. Uh, as they're walking by, mind you, this is around Halloween, and I gotta say that this part was a blatant ripoff. I wouldn't even say blatant ripoff, but just like straight out of ET. They're walking around on October 31st, and there goes a kid with not actually a Yoda mask, but with a Grogu
Yeah.
mask. Little kid, and I just laughed out loud at that point. I'm like, oh, they're playing to the next generation, and they could have put Yoda. I love how they put Grogu. Um, but yeah, this whole storyline, I'm like, oh gosh, are they just making this like ET number two or something? Why are we going on treading the same ground territory? Well, it
Yeah.
was all it was all a hoax. This ended up leading to a dead end anyway, but or so we thought.
Right, because it seems like a dead end because, one of these places, the Redwood Forest, um, when they finally get info out of someone, it's like this person says it in a whisper. They say it was on a movie set, Blue Harvest. And so they go there, they do a little digging, and they're like, wait a minute, Blue Harvest, that was a code name for a Star Wars movie, Return of the Jedi, which was filmed in the Redwoods. And so that's
Yeah.
why they think that this is all a hoax and leading them to a dead end.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So going from here, what we have going on is we have, they're now they're stuck out there in California, and they think like, it was a waste of time coming out here. And it's like, this was useless. We just traveled halfway across the country for nothing. Um, we're gonna just we're just gonna go. We're tired. We've been out all day. Let's just, go to they were so tired actually. Because they have like a big, SUV. So like it's actually kind of a nice night. It's Halloween night. People are out and about. Um, we're gonna take advantage of the situation. When they found a nice spot, they're like, "Hey, we have this tent. Why don't we just camp out here for the night, literally, and just look at the stars and just reminisce?" So all of a sudden they take out the radio and or the Bluetooth speaker, whatever, and on comes, Comfortably Numb. And it's just like this nice song coming on, real chill, real calm, as we all know. And this is when the movie really gets, it gets kind of like, okay, they're very like subtle with stuff up until this moment. And it's like, okay, Steven Spielberg just wants to show a spaceship. All right. We got this far, and literally this spaceship comes down, and Jane just goes like missing. And it's just this really, like you said before, it was kind of like that, the kid getting sucked up in the chimney. So it's like kind of another kind of like reference to one of his prior movies. And but as they're doing it, it's like they're saying the song is on, it's like Comfortably Numb. And it's like, yeah, she's probably numb because they're literally doing experiments or something because she got sucked up into the spaceship, you know? So at this point, it's just like, okay, now we actually found the aliens. We're looking at about it the wrong way. We were in the right place at the right time, or the wrong place at the wrong time. Um, so that we have him just kind of obviously kind of freaking out, as who wouldn't be. And he's got this knife. He's ready to start stabbing because that's all he has. He doesn't have anything else, but he has like a little like knife for camping he had with the tent and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, and
Um,
and then we start seeing that some of the people in costumes are like slowly walking up to him, and they each make the weird sound that, that alien sound.
yeah,
And uh, at first it sounds how we've been hearing it, the weird
yeah.
vocal sounds, but then we hear how he hears it, and they basically say, "We are going to kill you." And it's basically like he has to fight back and survive type of thing. Like going into this movie, I was expecting that even with the creepy vibes of like how the weather report message sounded, I still thought that the aliens would be, friendly like we're used to in some of these other movies, but it really feels like Spielberg wanted to try his hand at a bit of horror again. How well do you think he fared with that?
I think he fared very well considering um just the origin. So like luckily he was able to diffuse the situation. And he's like, "Look, I can speak. I can hear you guys. I can understand you guys. Let's talk this out. Let's talk this out." So, and that's the moment. Like he actually can speak it. Not just actively listen. He actually was able to not even think about it when he spoke, but like he was able to speak their language, and they immediately stopped and looked at him like, "Oh." And through this dialogue, they're able to explain like, "Hey, like we're literally from Tau City 4, like the other star system, like the other solar system that is like a neighboring solar system to the solar system, which we are in. And then it just becomes this crazy moment of like, wait a minute. So you guys like look like the way you look naturally? You're not a shapeshifter. You don't have like a little guy controlling you from the inside out like Men in Black or something. And and they're like, "No, this is us." And it's like this big a paradigm shift moment of like, "Oh my gosh, like aliens are literally us but living on other planets." And then like it starts to kind of go over what you were talking about earlier, Stephen, of like people would freak out because religion and what other things. It's like, and then you start thinking like, at least I started thinking like, did this higher being out there, God, whoever you want to believe in, just make multiple like human civilizations and start them on different planets? And it's amazing how these guys have mastered space travel faster than we could. And they're literally living among us, which is the scariest part. Because then this is like halfway through the movie when you're realizing that, like, oh my gosh, my neighbor could be literally from another planet and I didn't know my entire life. Like, they are dormant. And there was this message that rung out, which is why the Emily Blunt's character started talking like that, because she didn't even know herself as a descendant of the people of this planet. It was a dormant gene in her body, passed down through generations of
Yeah,
people that just live there.
and the message that she had said on the air was, "We are among you." And at first you think, oh, that means that they are trying to like creep around on Earth, but it literally means that some of them live among the humans here on Earth. And so now you have like this other addition to the moral dilemma where it's like, well, how would the quote unquote normal humans on Earth react if they realize that there are some more advanced humans who were able to master space travel and who perhaps have things better than they do? And it's kind of that, reminds you of that X-Men situation again, of how people feel threatened by mutants because they are like on a whole nother level, have higher powers. And yeah, like I could really feel the paranoia and thriller element in this movie, which I was honestly impressed with.
Yeah, I mean that is cool. This is very much gets into psychological horror because you're going, it makes you think. And then like we're gonna get into the end of the movie, but just as far as I get into it, it's like even leaving the theater, it's like one of those thoughts that you have like leaving the theater where I was like, oh man, like any person I look at, like, are they actually human? It spills out into my reality of like, oh, this is a kind of a creepy thing to think about, you know?
Yeah. And they even kind of play into that where we get this moment where we see someone in a suburban neighborhood and they look at the fence. The neighbor has like their eyes raised above the fence, and you kind of think that the bottom half of their face is covered because it looks more alien, but really it just looks human, even though the person is alien. And I guess that's supposed to be, continuing to hammer the point that yeah, aliens, they look just like us. And it started to feel like maybe Spielberg was also trying to say something deeper with this about how like there are people, even just taking the alien component out of it, we are all many people of various origins. And even though we may be at different states of civilization, there's higher states and lower
Hmm.
states of advancement civilization, we all still are basically the same and we're one. And the whole language thing, I think he's trying to make us think about how, like, you know what, we shouldn't be threatened by people just because they speak a different language. Like, I could feel him sort of trying to convey that message, even if it was subtle here.
Oh yeah. No, I think the message for me, definitely stuck. I was thinking along the same lines there for sure. But yeah, so like this whole part happens where it's dawning on them the severity of the matter, and they come to with each other, and then he's able to bargain with them and be like, they kind of feel bad. They're like, well, we seen that we took away her significant other. We thought she was a threat to us, and he said, in good faith, we're gonna release her back to you. She has not been harmed. She has not been whatever. And so she comes down. Obviously, she is scared wreck. He's able to explain everything to her, and then that's kind of like when the men in suits show up, where it's like, oh, here's where things get interesting. It's where the action happens, where they start firing on sight. They don't speak the language, so they don't know what the heck has happened. They just see these people surrounded and they just start firing.
Yeah,
Uh,
and these guys in suits, it seems like they have walkie-talkies, but they are secretly guns. So that's a little callback to that change in ET that Spielberg made and then went back on. I'm not sure if you
yeah,
got that.
yeah, that was a little brilliant thing. I picked that up. I picked that up. But yeah, this is when it's like, okay, what do we got to do? We got this evidence um on the drive, but that we also know the full truth. And how do we survive? How do we do what do we do going forward? What do we going forward? Um cause mass hysteria? Do we just destroy this drive and everything that was ever on it and try to live in peace? That's after they get away with their lives, right? This in the middle of a firefight. So that's a passing thought, but like, let's get out of here alive first, and then we'll worry about this later.
Yeah. And so they make it out like just barely and are trying to like travel along the coast. They make it to Cannon Beach, which was where The Goonies was filmed. And
Oh,
Spielberg was like a producer or executive producer on that movie. So there are those moments where I kind of wondered if there's maybe a little bit too much nostalgia in the
mm,
movie, but at the same time, there are all these like thrilling moments where I'm still invested in the plight of these characters and kind of not knowing where exactly it's all gonna go.
yeah, yeah. And it's like, okay, are they gonna go down there and see a pirate ship or something? No, we're just trying to get away. We're just trying to get away. The keen-eyed viewers will know where we are. Uh, but yeah, it's they're trying their best to lose them, and it ends up becoming just like an absolute foot race. They kind of hit this big ass pothole, of course, and it just makes them just the tire gets messed up, and they don't have time because they're getting chased. So then they continue to run and run and run, and they get exhausted. They get really exhausted, and then they get surrounded. Then the helicopters fly, and they're on them in like 2 seconds, and drop everything because he still has like that little knife on him, and he just
Yeah.
drops the knife. The movie does not have like that much comedy in it or levity, but at that moment, it's just like you see this like tiny like little pocket knife, and it's like drop the weapon, and he just looks at his hand like, oh, it drops this little thing. And they're like, okay, we have a tracker on you. That ship that you have, it belongs to us. You know, give it over. There was a tracker embedded in that thing the whole time. It's exactly That's why they knew exactly how to find him all the way in the middle of the forest. And what happens next was absolutely shocking. You know, what
Yeah.
were your thoughts? What were your thoughts on this moment here? This pivotal moment in the movie?
Yeah, and just to quickly mention, Colin Firth's character, Noah Scanlon, is in charge of these agents of what's this secret corporation called Wardex, which is like secretly working for the government and whatnot. But what they find is Coleman Domingo's character, Hugo Wakefield,
Oh yeah.
who is he's been hiding out in this place for a while. He seems like he's been kind of needing food for a bit, but yeah, he's like a deserter of the corporation and been on the run as well because he also was able to hear the message on the air and is has been saying, "Hey, we got to tell people about this." And so he's been on the run, and they basically like um, are have this alliance now where they're like, okay, we gotta get this message out to people and disclose everything, even if it is a huge paradigm shift. They come up with this plan that they try, which is that, since the cloud is down, they have to find a way to fix it and then broadcast their message and, demonstrating the UFO and how it works. What'd you think of this whole quest here?
Yeah, it was a very admirable quest, right? They realized like, hey, we gotta just get the information out. And while you could go to those big old fashioned looking satellite dishes from like the early 90s, like those gigantic things they would have like military base and all like, why don't we just, take a page out of Coleman Domingo's stint on the Fear the Walking Dead series? Why don't we just go on a cruise?
Right.
So they find this cruise ship and they're able to simply just go on a joyride far enough out of the interference field to then be able to get the broadcast out. And at least, you know, they're on the water, so they're able to escape the prying eyes of the government. And yeah, because they're already, like you said, they're at the that location that they were near from the Goonies. So yeah, they get out there and it's like, okay, well that was easy.
Yeah. The whole line of thinking is like, oh, if we're in international waters, then they have no jurisdiction here. Um, and
Yes.
and I guess these aliens have some sort of power where they're able to sort of augment the signal so that it can be broadcast even with the cloud being as wrecked as it is at the moment. But they run into another problem where when they broadcast the footage and demonstrate their technology, people on the internet are just like, oh, it's all just fake, it's CGI, it's AI. And so it's like,
Yeah.
oh man, yeah, like these advancements in human technology have got to a point where people believe everything, but also don't believe anything, really. Like they don't trust anything.
That is the craziest part about how the movie ends. Is like you think it is such a big celebration that they're about to have. The world can believe it, they see it. And it just, again, like I think Steven Spielberg did a great job with having multiple messages in this movie, as we talked about earlier. This one is just like, hey, this is how we are as society. People really don't believe it. And people are like, the current political situation is also, I think, as a part of this movie as it is in our real lives. So like, oh yeah, there's so much other stress we have in our lives based on this other stuff that even aliens don't get us out of our funk because we're still, stressed about this other stuff. Like what is that to say about how stressed as a human population we are when we're fighting so hard against ourselves that not even the aliens could make us band together, you know? We always
Yeah,
thought that would be the solution. Like, oh yeah, everybody will be like all kumbaya as soon as the aliens show up. We're all gonna work together. It's like, oh, this is a much depressing. outcome that I thought it would be.
Yeah, and you see like Colin Firth's character being like, let them go. This won't matter anymore since people won't believe they're no longer a threat. And it's this very cynical take that feels like the antithesis of like the end of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. It's a very different direction. And it really reminded me of how this thought I've had where I feel like if a UFO hovered in the sky in plain sight, like people of the town would probably just glance at it and then not care and go about their day because they have like so many other things to worry about.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm happy that this did not feel formulaic, and this movie did give us like a lot of twists and turns. We're going, oh, I see this going this way, and it certainly does not. And you're going, oh wow, this is not like Close Encounters. This is not like E.T. It's not like these other alien movies, Crystal Skull, like all these alien things he's dealt with in the past. And it's great to see a storyteller kind of inject conjecture into the current state of things with what we're dealing with all over the place. I thought it was just a really good twist at the end. I mean, it was not a great feeling leaving the movie in a way, but I respect the risk that he took with it. I respect him just going outside of the box a little bit, frankly.
Yeah, and there was that moment where Jane asks the aliens, "Do you think we'll ever be ready?" And the one of the aliens is like, "The answer might not be to your liking," and that is a huge blow to like normal humanity or whatever you want to call it. Like it's a reminder that, there's a lot that needs to change about the state of humankind as it is right now. And now it's like, I don't know where these characters are going to go from here. Like, are they going to try to start a new life somewhere overseas and living with this knowledge that they're not able to share with people? Like, they tried sharing with people and people rejected the knowledge. And so it's like, what must that feel like to live that type of life?
Yeah, and then that's when I was really happy about the ending because then it goes like way in the future, and they're like Jane and him are together in a small little room at a table. They have a camera, they have one camera, they have a laptop, and they have two microphones, and they're like, "Hello, everybody. This is episode 235 of Aliens Exist. Thanks for joining us on this episode of the podcast, blah blah blah." And that was like kind of like how it ends. So basically it's like they literally have a podcast about, all the occurrences of aliens that were on that disc and things that have happened in the future and everything, or currently, I mean. And I was like, oh yeah, me and you, we're podcasters. What a way to end a movie. And it's cool because like they're like a pseudo resistance where it's like we're keeping the dream, we're keeping the reality alive for those that want to listen. We have this podcast. People think we're crazy because they don't believe it, but we have the true believers out there. And those that want to listen will listen, and we have a platform for them. And I was like, dang, that's cool.
Yeah, and you even see a montage of some of the listeners, and Emily Blunt is one of them, and she's smiling because she's like, yes, the word is getting out there, even if it's not to as many ears who would listen as they would like, it's still something, maybe it could grow into something bigger at some point, but it's definitely something that's going to take time. And it'll draw some rational people, but it'll also draw in some of the fringe people with the weird theories that don't pan out. So you can tell there are going to be some kind of growing pains with this type of resistance, but it's better than doing nothing, is the vibe that I feel like this was conveying.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So Yeah, I mean, this is gonna go up there with with those Steven Spielberg movies that I really liked. I can't say I like it as much as E.T., but that's E.T. That's gonna be so hard for me to one of my favorite movies by him.
Yeah,
As far as alien movies. I still gotta check out Close Encounters, by the way. I still gotta check that out. It's definitely on my short list of things to watch among many things I've missed over my years and even before I was born, which I'm pretty
right.
sure that one was. But yeah, what were your thoughts on this movie overall?
Yeah, I thought this was bold with the directions that went. It was also quite impressive that, they had John Williams doing the music, but he didn't sound like his typical John
Hmm.
Williams self. Like, it sounded kind of different, didn't it?
Yeah, I know. It's like because the guy is how old now? Is he in his 90s yet?
Yeah, he's like at least in his 80, or yeah, he's 94 right now. Yeah.
Oh my
Wow.
goodness. Yeah. So I mean, that's the thing, right? Is like was it the soundtrack for the theme of the movie? Like, do you think like specifically, or do you think like he is reaching his limit at 94, which hey, boy, I wouldn't be anywhere doing what I'm doing now at 94 probably. So with my profession.
Sounded like a slower pace, like not as adventurous and fast paced, but I think that was purposeful because it had this eerie feel throughout the film that kind of sticks with you. So I think it very much was part of the assignment there, and
Yeah.
he tried following through with it.
Yeah. Yeah. So respect that. That's great to see John Williams still out and about, still creating music for Steven Spielberg specifically, who does Steven Spielberg ever make a movie without John Williams? Like that's his go-to guy every time.
Yeah, I'm sure there have been some movies that's a good question. I kind of want to like double check real quick. Um, because I think Jaws probably would have been the first one oh wait, John Williams was on the movie he did before that, Sugarland Express.
Hmm.
Um, okay, he was not on the one before that, Duel. I've never seen that one.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
but since knowing John Williams, has he always had him? I'm just like going through all these different movies now in its filmography. Um, okay, the Twilight Zone movie technically had a segment by Steven Spielberg, and the music for that was done by Jerry Goldsmith, another huge one when it comes to scores for movies.
Huh.
Oh, okay. The Color Purple, that was feature length, 1985, and that had its music done by Quincy Jones. So yeah, he has done movies here and there without John Williams, but
Okay.
that is generally kind of his go-to guy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that is that I mean, you gotta love it. You gotta love it. And I mean, yeah, my overall thoughts were, yeah, this is a movie that I think is gonna be very interesting to watch, 20, 30 years from now. See if like people that are of that generation all those years later are looking back like why are the people acting like that? Why are they responding that way? And we have to give them the whole spiel of like, oh, the political climate of this people are desensitized by aliens somehow. We don't know why, but they were. So it's gonna leave like lasting impacts, but I will say this movie had shock value in all the places that you wouldn't expect. There's not really any jump scares, there's no body horror, but it has that eerie, makes your skin crawl. Oh, the aliens are among us. Oh, they're from other places in the galaxy, but they look just like us. How can that happen? How do we communicate? What's life like for people that know that they're around and all that? So, I will give this a solid 8 out of 10 UFOs on my scale.
Yeah, I'm also there with you. I give it an 8 out of 10 construction carpenters because there's that scene where like
Oh yeah, we forgot
there's
about
like
that one.
this construction carpenter being controlled by an alien as well and like building this little this house that was kind of a message and a symbol that looked like a crop circle type of thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's like we're right on the same page. Happens more often than not.
Yeah, so definitely recommend this to people. And yeah, quite an interesting watch and nice addition to Spielberg's filmography, if we do
Yeah.
say so ourselves.
And, and you're right. Like I almost forgot that this movie was coming out with how stacked the schedule is. It's it's like every week we got some big feature film coming out, or even a smaller film coming out. It's
Yeah.
just, man, my wallet is feeling it this summer. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. But hey, it's all worth it for the letterboxed reviews, right?
Oh goodness, I have to get on that.
No, yeah, it's a
Oh.
good way for me to keep track of which movies have I seen, which ones did I not like, so I shouldn't like accidentally put on a movie that I think I haven't watched, you know?
Yeah, no, that's good for that. It's good for that.
All right. Well, I guess that'll do it. Thanks for joining me again, Starraptor. Where can people find you online?
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's always a blast to be on here talking movies, having a good old time. You can find me primarily, my content creation is over on YouTube, youtube.com/Starrapter, where I mainly talk about Star Wars. I review the comics, the books. I have my Star Wars podcast, Outer Rim Transmission. We usually go live around on Sundays around 7 p.m. Eastern, so you can follow us there. We're also available on podcast catchers. Search Spotify, search Apple Music for Outer and Transition. You'll find us there. And I'm also on Twitter/X at Starrapter. You can find me talking about video games, movies, Star Wars, and skateboarding and more. So there you go.
Nice. Yeah, so everyone go check that out and via the links in the show notes. And this podcast will be back next time with a different topic. So without further delay, have a good day. All right, and in just a moment, you'll hear my other self share brief, non spoiler thoughts on The Mandalorian and Grogu, since that was a movie in that universe. Although over here, I guess whatever was that movie was part of a season. So, yeah, and he'll also talk about other things he's been watching. But first, the plugs. You can email delayedreplaypodcast@gmail.com. Let us know your thoughts on Aliens. Not the movie Aliens, but just Aliens in general. And you can follow me via the social media list in the show notes and go to stevenshinder.com for info on my standalones and stepping stones novels. Always appreciate any reviews. And you can also check me out on Yes Shift, a podcast/vlog I do with my dad. Did a news episode recently, announcements and stuff related to Yes or people who've been in Yes. So, yeah, fun stuff there. Topic of next episode will be Insidious Out of the Further. So, yeah, next Saturday, as of when you're hearing this. Alright, so without further delay, here's my other self. Hey everyone, so The Mandalorian and Grogu. And if you go to Starraptor's channel, he'll have a review of that as well. I think he posted a non-spoiler review, and he's definitely more up on the movie than I am. There are other people who are more up on it, and that's cool. I thought the movie was just okay. To me, it feels like the safest live action Star Wars movie there's ever been here in my universe. Uh, yeah, it just didn't really excite me all that much. And I think I might have liked it more if it had been continued as a TV show and these elements that were in the movie are in play. I have a video about this over on YouTube. Well, I don't know if you can call it a video since it's just a still image and my audio set to it. But yeah, it's less than 20 minutes. Half of it is non-spoiler thoughts, the other half is spoiler thoughts. So check that out over on the YouTube channel, Steven Shinder Reviews in video form. But yeah, probably I'd only put it above Attack of the Clones and of course the Ewok movies. You know, to me it's a 6 out of 10 movie. It's super safe, unexciting. Maybe there's a little bit of excitement. Like, if you love Grogu and just anything he does, you'll love this movie. But yeah, not really much that felt like stakes. And when I say stakes, I don't mean there has to be a world destroying threat or that someone has to die. I mean, there has to be the possibility that the heroes can lose something meaningful to them. And I could also just feel the budget of this movie. Now, some blockbuster movies really do need to lessen their budget so that it's easier for them to succeed. But I think here I was just super aware because we've seen this as a TV show. And when a TV show goes to the big screen, you know, switches to a movie, I would hope for there to at least be a visual leap, and there simply wasn't in my eyes. But yeah, I don't think Star Wars is dead. I feel like I always have to throw that little asterisk there. It's just, yeah, this didn't do much for me, and I'm kind of ready to move on talking about other stuff. Alright, so what else have I been watching? Well, I was intending to watch Spider Noir, the new live-action show with Nick Cage reprising that role from the Spider-Verse movies. And it's on Prime, it's in black and white and in color. You can choose between the different versions. Although it's not easy on my end. You know, I tried on Chromecast and on a Fire Stick, and it would just automatically go to color, even if I did try, black and white on my phone and, for the Chromecast in that instance. And other people have been having this problem as well. I want to watch this in black and white. First and foremost, I really think they botched this release. They should have released the versions separately, maybe at least a month apart, maybe a couple months apart. So I was able to watch it before recording this. Hopefully I'll be able to watch the whole series by next episode and share my thoughts on it. But Starrapter has been pretty positive about it, so, and I've seen other people be positive about it too, so that excites me. And I have been watching The Mighty Nine, though. I finally finished that season. It's a Critical Role animated series, and really enjoyed it. I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Jester is probably my favorite of the characters, but Not the Brave is a very close second. So you got a Tiefling character and a Goblin character. It's a really good show, and I went back and started watching The Legend of Vox Machina. I quite enjoyed the first couple episodes. I like that the way you get to know each of these parties of characters is different. With Vox Machina, you get it in song. In Mighty Nine, you get to see the actual story beats of how they all get together. So apparently season 4 of Legend of Vox Machina premieres next week, so I guess this is a really good time for me to finally be getting around to watching that show. Other than that, new movies. There have been new movies I've been hearing are really good. People have been hyping Obsession and Backrooms. But I don't know when I'll get to those or if I'll even get to see them in the theater. There's just been a lot going on my end that is keeping me from that desire to set aside the time to go out to the theater, unfortunately. I have watched some stuff I've been able to watch on streaming services lately. You could go on my Letterboxd, Rotten Tomato. Um, Recent films, or recent-ish, I guess I should say. No One Will Save You. That one came out in 2023. Stars Caitlin Dever. She doesn't really talk in the movie, just makes yelling or not yelling, like, scream noises or gasps, stuff like that. So it kind of feels like A Quiet Place with more traditional looking aliens, I guess. But also follows that trend of, there's talk about trauma. So some of it felt like stuff we'd seen before. I gave that one 3 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd. I'm quite surprised Caitlin Dever didn't really speak in the movie. That kind of took me off guard. Self-Reliance, this one also came out in 2023. Stars Jake Johnson, who also wrote and directed it. And he is kind of in a rut with his life, and then Andy Samberg pulls up in a limo and asks him if he wants to join this dark web competition where he's basically on this dark web reality show and will win $1 million if he can go 30 days without these people hunting him, without them killing him and whatever. And it's such an interesting premise. The thing is, one of the rules is no one can try killing him if he's in someone's presence. So that adds an interesting twist to the whole thing. He has to get with people and, people he can trust. And this really kept me on my toes. And it's a comedy, I should say. An interesting watch. I don't know if the payoff was fully satisfying to me, so I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. I also watched Watching the Detectives. This one is from 2007. Cillian Murphy works at a video store, and he meets Lucy Liu's character, who is a big question mark. It really keeps you on your toes. Like, what are her intentions? And like, who is she really? This I don't want to say too much about this one. Like, definitely go watch it. I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. That one really kept me on my toes. And I guess the last one I'll mention here is Crawl. That one's from 2019. Has to do with surviving, was it alligators? I think it was alligators during a hurricane, flooded town type thing. It was better than I thought it would be. I think I was mixing the reception for this with the reception for The Meg, because similar water themed movies, I guess. So people seem to not be high on The Meg, but are high on Crawl. So yeah, I got that cleared up, and 4 out of 5 stars. So yeah, it was thrilling, and I was satisfied. All right, so I guess that's it for now. I'll be back next week after the next discussion topic conversation. And again, go to improvcollective.fun. Check out Improv Collective over in Costa Mesa. Final Huntington Beach Boys show of the IFL season will be Saturday, June 6th. 9 p.m. is when doors open. 9:30 p.m. is when the show starts. So thanks everyone, and see you all soon. Without further delay, have a good day.